welcome. My name is Dan Meyer, Editor-in-Chief of RCR Wireless News. Joining me today is Bill Ho, who is the Principal Analyst at 556 Ventures, to talk a bit about some of the recent carrier news this week. Bill, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Always happy to be here.
Great. Well, again, let's start off with a bit of the news from, yesterday on AT&T rolling out some changes to their mobile share plan. Looks like they came out with, new options for customers. Kind of a no contract offering for customers. What was your general view from reading that, and maybe your analysis, kind of what that might mean for the market?
Right. The takeaway is that they are addressing a no contract, and why are they doing that? Well, obviously, on the surface, it's because T-Mobile is having success.
Yep.
With their own Simple Choice product, and quite frankly, I think T-Mobile in the last couple of quarters have been getting postpaid users from AT&T. So from a competitive response, that's on the surface what it means.
Yeah.
Also, what it also means is that since it's no contract, that means that it's reduced pricing.
Yeah.
And if you brought your own smartphone, or you and we're focusing on smartphones here, if you bring your own phone that works, then you receive a substantial credit on service. So that's kind of the highlight of it. And from the perspective of handsets, it's reduced subsidies for AT&T. So financially, it's a win for them if the plan takes off and everybody either prolongs their device, so they don't have to upgrade as much, because that's really an anti-churn tool as well. And so that on the surface, two big stories. Subsidy savings, as well as having a no contract option to meet against T-Mobile.
Yeah. Well, now do you think? Obviously, T-Mobile has had some pretty good success over the past couple of quarters. Is this? AT&T's third quarter was pretty good as well. It's not like they're struggling, but is this a bit of a reactionary move, do you think, by AT&T? The timing of it to me seems strange because it kind of came so close to the holiday shopping time frame. It came after the Cyber Monday, Black Friday sale, so people weren't able to take advantage of it during that period. It kind of came after that, and only a couple of weeks before the holidays. Do you think, it seemed to me at least to be maybe a bit of a knee-jerk reaction that they kind of put this thing out there pretty quick because maybe the quarter's not going as well for them, or I don't know. It just seems to me when something like this comes at an odd time frame, I always seem to think that it's because something's happening behind the scenes that maybe some executives from the top kind of told the marketing people to make some changes here to kind of change the numbers around. What's your view of the timing of this?
Well, I think the timing is the timing, and I think it's well timed. From throwing a product like this, which is impactful for the whole portfolio, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
So it's not a month type of thing. There's got to be approvals up the chain. There's got to work on the back office to make sure all those changes happen. So it's not trivial. So I would have to guess that it was many months in the planning, and timing-wise, I think it's good going into the holiday selling season because if you go with the same product, then you really don't have any differentiation. And so what I wrote in my blog post was T-Mobile and Verizon still have the momentum. They're the main competitors that AT&T need to kind of stop or kind of neutralize. And the timing of this is important because going into Q4 and Q1, that's when a lot of upgrades happen and renewals. So it's a really opportune time for a plan like this. And in looking at developing a plan, it's not really against just one carrier. So if I were looking at doing a major change like this, I want to hit the landscape as much as possible. And one of the things that I found in the release was that the price points and the data buckets match, and it's really at price parity at the upper end against Verizon Wireless. So that's why I say that's a twofold move. At least it's a twofold move. And at least twofold move. It could be the Sprint could be there, and there's other things going. Something this big is not just one target. It's got multiple targets, multiple objectives.
Yeah. So I'll take off my tinfoil hat on this one and just assume that it's nothing crazy going behind the scenes. And just like you said, obviously it does take a while to get these things in place. So I'm sure it wasn't a quick thing, but it just seemed odd timing on that. But again, and you also mentioned too that this is kind of another push across the industry to kind of reduce the device subsidy market, and that's been something that's been talked about for years and years and years about carriers always hating the subsidy, but still always doing them. But it seems like this year has really been a year of carriers at least offering the option for customers to forgo the subsidy, pay for the device either up front or on a payment plan, but really getting rid of that part of the whole ecosystem really of how customers buy devices.
I think that's a direction that a portion of the market wants to move, but I think the American market is so, I guess, used to low-cost pricing, and with the holiday promotions, right? Like free smartphones, that's pretty compelling. And so I think there will be a place for regular 2-year contracts. There'll be a place for no contract. So from the American consumer standpoint, there's competition, there's choice in there, and it'll constantly evolve. And one thing I have to say is what we're seeing also is the data buckets are more prevalent, right?
Yeah.
So the offer is unlimited voice and unlimited text. And so, you go back, rewind to 2005, there was a lot of price competition and fighting over the minute buckets and I think that there's a very, very similar parallel here, is that the consumer is figuring out how much data they need. Similar to back, in the day where do I need a 700-minute bucket, 900-minute bucket, and then more interesting things come in to kind of offset that consumption. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's a strong parallel to it. And if you take a look at the AT&T and Verizon portfolio, mm-hmm. It's a huge range, and it's like it's going from 50 gig to 300 meg.
Yeah.
Take a look at the plans. It's a huge range, and I think that we're still in an experimental time where consumers, users are figuring out the consumption from a family plan view, since it's mobile share.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I guess maybe on that point too. I mean, does it seem like? Because looking at the AT&T plans now, they do offer a wide variety of plans now, and it seems like we're almost going back to a time when there was almost too much complexity in the rate plan market. Years and years ago, carriers were offering nationwide plans and regional plans, and it was just very confusing across the market. Now it seems like, we're almost going back to this point where there's almost maybe too much choice for consumers, do you think? Or do you think that carriers are doing a good enough job of differentiating their offerings to the consumer market so there's not that kind of confusion out there where customers aren't sure anymore what plan to pick, because it's all the choices, contract, no contract, subsidy, no subsidy. I think you're handling that okay?
Well, I think so if you're a consumer that wants choice, then this is a good time for it, right? So like I said before, people are figuring out how much data they need.
Yeah.
We're still in like maybe year 2 of real smartphone consumption, and as the carriers say, LTE is going to change the game in terms of the consumption model, and in terms of user experience as well as usage. Mm-hmm. The minutes of use, I remember way back in the day where the likes of unlimited calling, people were using 1,500 minutes.
Yeah.
Minutes of use per month. I doubt that is that much, and therefore carriers are saying, okay, we're seeing this trend here. We can go with unlimited voice, unlimited text, because they're going into all IP, and VoLTE is going to come, and so the revenue part is really the data, and that's why you see a spread in pricing with the different data buckets, because the voice component of ARPU is going to go down, and how the challenge is, how do you get the data piece to be up? I know it's maybe a financial exercise, but in the end, they want to lift ARPU, and they want to fuel data consumption.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, that sounds good. Well, again, obviously, with AT&T's move, it definitely broadens the choice for consumers, which is, like you said, always a good thing too. So, I guess maybe taking a step back and maybe looking at kind of where we are in the market right now. Maybe a final topic would be just what's your view on how the fourth quarter might play out for carriers. Obviously, we are coming out of the big kickoff to the holiday shopping season. We've got a few more weeks until Christmas at least. How do you see maybe the market playing out at this point? Do you think we'll see some big winners, big losers out of this? Obviously, I know this is all just guessing at this point, but what's your view on kind of how carriers are stacking up when it comes to kind of this important Q4 shopping season?
Well, I think the indicators are in the promotion during Black Friday, Thanksgiving, Cyber Week, Cyber Monday. So what I saw is that it was from at least the fourth tier, AT&T was the most aggressive because they had a lot of stuff going on either on Thanksgiving, on Black Friday, and then Cyber Monday, separate promotions there. And the takeaway for AT&T for me was there was a lot of subsidy there. It's maybe older inventory that was free. I mean, older models. Samsung played a huge part of it in terms of the AT&T promotions. They were stimulating tablets as well, and all the stuff was really, again, stimulating to your contract, and that's what they're pushing. So that's AT&T. They're very, very aggressive. It seems to me, from a marketing acquisition standpoint, if that's going to be kind of the plan going forward, it's going to continue all the way up to Christmas, and then maybe different promotions as you go into Q1. As far as wireless is pushing the Motorola product and some Samsung products. They also want to do some tablets as well, because we all know, the industry knows, that tablet as another device and add-on is also the future, and to have connected and just eating into the data consumption buckets, whichever carrier. So for that was Sprint, right?
Yeah, of Verizon.
Right, Verizon was doing more accessories. So accessories also, if you think about it, is something that a lot of people don't pay attention to, but it's still high margin for carriers. So that if you have like a Jambox or Beats headsets, and there's sufficient desire to impromptu spend and additional promotion, why not do it at a carrier store versus a Best Buy or a Target?
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah.
And so moving on to T-Mobile, I think what they're trying to do is just drop pricing. So I think that they say zero down versus whatever the price points were for an iPhone or an S4 or whatever. And it's just to get people in the door and just to continue that momentum. They don't necessarily have to do anything different. I think, if it ain't broke, the plan, why fix it, right? So they had 2 quarters of the same thing, a little more aggressive in saying zero down, and people like zero down. I mean, zero is a good number versus 49, 99, 199, right? So that's and then finally with Sprint, they're still pushing tablet. It seems like my takeaway from all this is that Samsung is being very, very aggressive with placement in all carriers. So the other story is, what is the co-marketing for device vendors? Device vendors as well as channel partners. Yeah. Really? So, I mean, the battleground is Best Buy, Walmart, Radio Shack, and Target. I mean, those guys are looking to activate as well to get people into their stores. So there's a lot of things going on other than carrier stores, of which carriers benefit. And again, device vendors, they want to move units. And co-marketing and throwing money down to help their cause is kind of the same playbook.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it's interesting about the Samsung part of it, because again, I mean, Samsung they do seem like they're in such a controlling position in the Android market, at least. But it seems like in the past couple of months there was a lot of talk about LG having better devices, Nokia having their Microsoft devices, HTC having their HTC One device. And maybe it did seem like Samsung is again trying to restamp its authority that, hey, beyond Apple, we're pretty much the number 2 choice, and don't even try to kind of take some market share from us, because we are the power play here. And it does seem like you're right. They were pretty aggressive in a spot where you think they wouldn't have to be aggressive, but they were pretty aggressive out there.
No, I think it's you have to understand the Samsung culture. They're obsessed with Apple. They want to beat Apple. And so throwing marketing money, throwing subsidy money at it just to attain global market share, I mean, not just U.S., it's global market share, is I think a prime goal for them. And then they've got deeper pockets than HTC, Nokia, and LG, right? So from the pure spend standpoint, they kind of dwarf the other guys. Yeah. Well,
it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Obviously, we still have a few more weeks to go for the end of the year, but I'm sure we'll touch base again perhaps after the holidays and kind of see how everything played out. But again, Bill, appreciate the time today. Thanks so much for the insight, and we'll talk